He was supposed to be next. Millions of followers, overtime and ballast life highlight reels, dunks that broke the internet, three-pointers from half court like it was nothing. At 15 years old, Mikey Williams wasn't just a basketball prospect. He was a brand. NBA scouts were watching. Sneaker deals came calling. Social media dubbed him the future of basketball. But then, the future never came. Instead, the headlines shifted. Felony charges, Puma deal canceled, no college debut, and a name once synonymous with stardom now linked to disappointment. What happened to Mikey Williams? How did a kid with NBA-level hype before he could even drive become one of the most controversial busts of the social media era? This is the story of how fame came too fast. The game stopped developing, and a teenage phenom went from future superstar to basketball cautionary tale. Let's break it down. Before the felony charges, before the social media backlash, Mikey Williams was that guy. He was one of the first hoopers born into the age of virality, and he owned it. Born on June 26, 2004 in San Diego, California, Mikey picked up a basketball before most kids could spell it. By the time he was 12, he wasn't just good, he was electrifying. He could dunk, he could shoot from NBA range. He had swagger, court vision, and the charisma of a seasoned pro, all before high school. But what separated Mikey from other talented kids? The internet. His mixtapes, filled with postered dunks, flashy handles, and half-court heat checks, exploded online. And when he teamed up with Bronny James on the North Coast Blue Chips AAU team, it was game over. That squad didn't just play tournaments, they shut gyms down. With cameras flashing and YouTube channels filming every crossover, Mikey became a walking highlight reel. He wasn't just hooping, he was building a brand. By the time Mikey hit 9th grade at San Isidro High School, the hype was unreal. In his first high school season, he averaged 29.9 points, 6.7 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1.9 steals per game. Oh, and he dropped a 77-point game in one outing, breaking school and state records as a freshman. ESPN, Bleacher Report, Ballast Life. Everyone was covering him. He wasn't just dominating, he was everywhere, and the world took notice. NBA players were reposting his clips. Colleges were offering scholarships while he was still in middle school. Kids across the country were trying to be Mikey Williams. By the time he turned 16, Mikey had over 3 million Instagram followers, endorsement interest from major brands, and an army of fans who truly believed, this kid's going to the league. Then, in 2021, history was made. Puma signed Mikey Williams, still in high school, to a multi-year sneaker deal, making him the first American high school basketball player to sign with a global shoe company. It was unprecedented. It was polarizing. But most of all, it felt like the beginning of something massive. Mikey had it all. Talent, hype, a sneaker deal, the backing of brands, fans, and media. He was the prototype of a modern-day teenage superstar. But what no one saw coming, what no one wanted to believe, was that the higher you rise, the harder you fall. At the height of his fame, Mikey Williams looked untouchable. He had the highlight reels, the endorsements, the millions of followers, and the keys to a future that most players could only dream of. But then, in April 2023, that dream crashed. On April 13, 2023, Mikey was arrested at his San Diego home on 5 felony counts of assault with a deadly weapon after an alleged shooting incident that occurred just weeks earlier. According to reports from the San Diego County Sheriff's Office, Williams allegedly fired a gun at a vehicle carrying several people who had just left his residence following an altercation. Fortunately, no one was injured. But the legal consequences? Severe. At just 18 years old, Mikey was now facing up to 30 years in prison. The arrest shocked the basketball world. It wasn't just a PR hit, it was a career detour that would derail everything. Suddenly, the story wasn't about highlights or promise. It was about courtrooms, lawyers, and bail hearings. The fallout was immediate. Puma suspended their endorsement deal with Mikey. Memphis, where he had committed to play under Penny Hardaway, began distancing itself. His spot in the national conversation, gone overnight. Recruiters and analysts, once praising his game, now questioned his judgment. The brands that once celebrated him went silent, and the same internet that built him turned on him. What made it worse? He hadn't even played a college game yet. For months, Mikey's legal situation hung in the air, uncertain and unresolved. Then, in November 2023, he reached a plea deal. He pled guilty to 1 felony count of making criminal threats. The deal allowed that charge to be reduced to a misdemeanor. In exchange, he had to complete probation, gun safety courses, and 100 hours of community service. It kept him out of prison, but it couldn't undo the damage. His public image had been severely tarnished. His once unshakable momentum completely stalled. And now, Mikey Williams, once the face of the next generation, was suddenly fighting just to stay relevant. After nearly a year of legal turmoil and media silence, fans wondered if Mikey Williams would ever touch a college court. He was once considered a future NBA lottery pick, but now, just getting a jersey again felt like a long shot. Mikey originally committed to play for Penny Hardaway at the University of Memphis, a perfect fit on paper. A flashy guard under a flashy coach, a top mid-major program with national eyes, a chance to reintroduce himself on a competitive stage, but the dream unraveled fast. After his arrest in April 2023, Memphis made a quiet but firm decision. Mikey would not be joining the team until the legal process was complete. That process took over 8 months, and by then, the opportunity was gone. Mikey was enrolled at Memphis, but he never suited up, never practiced, never played a single minute. For a player who once had cameras on him since middle school, the silence was deafening. In January 2024, Mikey tried to revive his career. He quietly transferred to the University of Central Florida, UCF. This was no longer about stardom. This was about survival. It was a chance to finally prove he belonged at the college level, to show that the skill was still there, despite everything. But when the game started, reality hit. In 18 appearances at UCF, Mikey averaged 5.1 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, just 38% shooting from the field, limited minutes and no real leadership role. He was no longer the focal point. He was barely a rotation player. The same player who once dropped 77 points in a high school game was now struggling to crack double digits in college. And it wasn't just the stats. It was the rhythm, the confidence, the identity. For the first time in his life, Mikey Williams wasn't the star. He was just another name on the roster. In April 2025, Mikey announced he was transferring again, this time to Sacramento State. It was an unexpected move, a small market program in the Big Sky Conference. But this wasn't about exposure anymore. This was about rebuilding, quietly and humbly. The program is now led by former NBA guard Mike Bibby, with support from Shaquille O'Neal, who is reportedly mentoring players behind the scenes. It's a long way from ESPN, a long way from Puma deals, a long way from highlight reels, but maybe that's exactly what Mikey needs. Mikey Williams' story isn't just about missed shots or off-court drama. It's about the cost of pressure, the weight of expectations, and the consequences of decisions made too young under too bright a spotlight. Because Mikey didn't just lose momentum, he lost years of his career. He lost trust. He lost the control of a story that he used to own. And now, he's trying to piece it all back together. At 15, Mikey had millions of followers. He was more famous than some NBA rookies. But fame isn't a finish line. It's a test. And no one gave him the manual for how to manage it. Likes became currency, hype became pressure, and the expectations became unrealistic. He wasn't allowed to just grow. He was supposed to be perfect and ready for the league by 18. And in that environment, development takes a backseat to image. There's no denying it. Mikey had game. He had the handles, the vision, the range, the bounce. But what his story proves is this: talent doesn't protect you from bad decisions. You can have all the skill in the world, but if your judgment fails you, if you lose focus, if you don't have the right people around you, the game will move on without you. And that's what happened. Mikey Williams was one of the first social media basketball stars. He paved the way for others like Hansel Emmanuel, Jared McCain, and Robert Dillingham. But his journey is now a warning. That early hype isn't the same as a career, and that every repost or sneaker deal means nothing if you can't back it up when the lights go out. He needed better mentorship, better structure, maybe even just more time to be a teenager, not a brand. But here's the thing. Mikey Williams is still only 20 years old. He's still got time. Time to grow. Time to rebuild. Time to re-earn respect not just as a hooper, but as a man. Transferring to Sacramento State might seem like a step down, but maybe it's finally a step in the right direction. If he stays focused, if he puts in the work, if he takes the lessons to heart, this story isn't over. Mikey Williams' story is still being written. While his early career was marked by unprecedented hype and subsequent setbacks, his move to Sacramento State offers a chance for redemption. It's a reminder that while talent opens doors, character and resilience determine the journey. By the hoop. Do you believe in Mikey's comeback? Was he overhyped from the beginning? Let us know in the comments, and hit that like, subscribe, and ring the bell button for more basketball stories.